arthritis and provides you a great program that can not only strengthen the body, but really lengthen and provide stability. When someone is experiencing arthritic changes, typically the joint can go through a time when it's hypermobile, meaning that there's some instability. And then as the arthritis sets in, you get into what we call hypomobility, where you have less movement, range of motion. The goal of this workout is not to push hard and to really move through pain. The goal is to provide lubrication to the joint, so to create a rhythmic motion as you're doing these exercises. So you're going to go for time under tension, which is typically what I do. I say start with 30 seconds and progress up to 60 seconds. Focus on your form, focus on the technique, and then start to increase your tempo. Exercises that are done slower may be more effective if you're trying to feel the mind-body connection. Eccentric movements, for instance, if you bicep curl when you bring the elbow up and you slowly lower, the lowering phase is where you get more strength. And I provide some tips in the blog about how you can change the tempos. Also, what I want you to think about is the mind-body connection. When you have arthritis or even a pain or chronic pain, often we are working with, and I put myself in that position since I deal with that, is I have to distinguish between pain that is something telling myself that I need to stop and discomfort. And so what I would like you to start to do is maybe tune out the music and tune into your body. Go through this exercise program and feel what your feet are doing, your back's doing, your fingers are doing. Start to see how you are so that you can start to say, is this okay? Is this safe? When we have not moved for a while, you want to train your brain that movement is okay and safe. However, if you're pushing through pain, you're not training your brain that the movement's safe. So ideally, you might have a little bit of discomfort, but ideally as you work through, it starts to feel better and you have less pain. If at any point in time you have increased pain, discomfort, you stop. You either try to then modify the movement or you change the movement in and of itself. So let's get started. The first move we're gonna do is cardio pull. The goal of this exercise is to get the shoulders and legs moving in coordination and also open up the body. So typically we're really low for squats, but for cardio pull, be a little bit away from the bottom edge of the glide board, allowing you to bend the knees, arms come up, and then pull the arms to the shoulders, and then come back. Feel what your trunk is doing, feel the abdominals connect, and then as you feel more comfortable, you can perform circles, allowing the shoulders to get warmed up. If this feels okay, you can start to do straight pullovers with the arm, really feeling that range of motion through the shoulders. Then I'm gonna now take my focus, let's say my knee is the issue that I'm working through arthritis. I'm gonna go back to a short lever, meaning elbows into the sides. I'm gonna alternate the legs. I can scoot down the board if I want a little bit more range of motion. I can add a little bit of a plyometric. My arm's gonna be up, taking some of the resistance as I jump and helping me coordinate the landing so I'm not landing so forcefully. My arms are taking up some of the weight. You can perform this cardio pull varying. You can reach out straight. You can go back to straight up. I recommend going for at least 1 to 2 minutes as you start this to get the body warmed up and primed for the next series. So the next series is going to be squats. So we warm up the body with cardio pull. We walk ourselves down the glide board, we roll back. Now, our feet can be right on the squat stand, and you might feel a little bit more tension through the knees and hips if you have some changes in the knees, some arthritic changes or lack of range of motion. So if I want more range of motion and I have some discomfort in my knee, I'm gonna walk my feet up. So I'm gonna focus on pressing through my heels, but I'm telling myself I'm also pressing against an imaginary wall. So you're gonna start with bilateral squats. When you're doing the squats, go slowly and think about how are you initiating. Are you pressing into your back to push the glide board up? Or do you maintain that core activation and think about the legs? Ideally, the legs are working. Now what you're gonna take your focus on is the shoulders and the neck. You want your shoulders dropping away from the ears, your fingers reaching long. Just because your legs may be the focus, the upper body still needs to be engaged. Transition from here, the board can stay still, and you lift the hips up and down. Reach your fingertips long for the squat stand. Visualize reaching the knees over the toes to help offset too much pressure to the neck. You can bend the knees more, vary the angle. You can also bring the glide board all the way down to provide more stability. Now from bridging, you push yourself up the board. I'm going to lower myself down. I'm going to toe touch with one leg and go into single leg squats. From here, I'm going to bring my leg into my chest. Now that's going to passively position my spine a little bit and really focus in on my leg. I'm going to require more stability as I then go to 90-90. I then transition to the other side. Lastly, I stay lifting up into a bridge, bring one leg up. Now I can add a squat up and down, or I stay here and I lift my hips up and down. And that concludes the squatting series. Like we did cardio pull, we focus on squats. Now we're gonna do a similar movement with the arms. We're gonna roll back. Your feet are supported on the glide board. Bend the elbows. You can start with your hands by your sides, reach the arms up, and pull down. You can go into a pull down, and then add a circle. If this feels okay to you, you can start to add a straight arm circle. Where you're bringing all the way over, out to the sides, and around. You can do clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever works for you. You can also add a little bit of an ab crunch if you so desire. And then you can end with straight pullovers. Remember when we did cardio pull, we did one at a time. Now we're doing bilateral, allowing the arms to reach all the way back. Make sure your ribs aren't lifting. You're keeping them soft into the glide board. I'm maintaining a neutral spine as I pull over hands to hips, keeping the shoulders pulling away from the ears. And that's Supine Arms series. So we're gonna focus on the trunk and the upper body. So I'm gonna have my feet on the floor for support, and I'm gonna let my arm come out for a high elbow row. So I start by thinking about what is my shoulder doing, pulling my shoulder away from my ear. Then I'm gonna add a rotation of my torso toward the squat stand. As you can see, I start to bring in the movement simultaneously. I can lift up my legs to add intensity. I can also do this lower high kneeling. To increase, I add straight arm across my body. Again, if that's too much, you can go high, straight arm out, and then slowly come across. So again, high elbow row, extend the arm, and straight across. Those are your variations. Now my hand's gonna rest in my lap. My other arm's gonna be bent. I'm gonna go overhead first. Again, my feet are on the floor to start. And then I'm gonna add a lateral lean. So I'm really adding that torso in. Bringing up my body my legs rather, as I feel I want more strength. Optional movements. I can add a bicep curl, overhead press. Really feeling the length in my torso, allowing that elongation of the spine. It may be a little bit more complex, but you can add in a high elbow row and really start working that upper back still as you're adding in that stretch. And then you'll do that on the other side. All right, we're gonna focus in on the upper back and our spine, as this is one area that arthritis can set in for all of us. So we're gonna think about rolling through our spines, coming down and rolling back up. So first focus on the articulation, rolling down and coming back up. Add in an upright row. So you roll up, you pull back, you slowly bring your arms out as you roll forward. You can move through this motion with upright row. You can go wide fly as an option. You can also add a bicep curl. The goal is to really allow the body to get that nice stretch. This is a part of our cool down, coming toward the end of our workout, but also really feel the body roll through, allow the stretch, as well as how do I work the spine to come back up into a nice upright position. All right, as we're coming to a close, the goal really now is to get more functional, meaning that we've gone from lying on our backs to now we're gone into sitting. And so when sitting, I want you to remember that you want to sit on top of your sit bones. Feel like you're sitting lightly. Oftentimes we're kind of sitting heavy, so feel like you're sitting tall, almost like you're posting on a horse is what I tell some people. We're sitting on a piece of glass. So you're going to start with arm circles here. pretty much we say short lever, meaning that you're bending the elbows, bringing up and around. If you're familiar with Pilates, it's kind of a combination of offering. And then you can go the other way. So to make it even more challenging, you do straight arms. Straight up, out and around. Straight up, out and around. Okay? Now, after you're done this routine, you're gonna let your arms come back. Feel the stretch. If you wanna get a greater stretch, scoot down the glide board or let yourself come forward. You saw these last two movements with my feet on the ground. You can also perform with the legs up. I was using my feet to self-spot since I was talking to you. I wanted to make sure I, a little bit of assistance as I was chatting. And then meet me for the last section. I'm stretching that lower body.